LSU has a top 5 class, but can they still make a run to finish number 1? There's some key recruitments coming to an end soon. Let's talk Tiger recruiting. I got On3 Steve Wiltfong here to break it all down. But first, LSU fans, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. All right, let's bring in Steve Wiltfong. And I want to talk about 5-star Jonah Williams because it looked like, we were both penciling him into A&M's class, but we know baseball is going to factor in, and A&M had a major coaching change. Could this help LSU with 5-star safety Jonah Williams?
I'm still with Texas A&M for Jonah Williams, but recruiting's a game of inches, and LSU and Oregon are 2 programs that I have a keen eye on. USC also got an official visit, but I still think this recruitment runs through Texas A&M, and as they dot I's and cross T's, are they going to get this recruitment where it needs to be to ultimately land Jonah Williams? He likes Coach Mike Elko, loves the trajectory of that football coaching staff. The baseball team just played in the national title game, so showed that potential. But Jonah Williams loves football. He's looking for a place that can develop him into the best football player he can be. Seeing what Mike Elko's done with guys like Jesse Bates, Kyle Hamilton is exciting. Their scheme, family loves it, close to home. But LSU and Oregon are a couple programs that I'm certainly not sleeping on in that sweepstakes.
Yeah. Hey, look, I figured it was probably still A&M, but, coaching change in baseball could maybe open the door back up for LSU. All right. LSU had the number 1 class in the country, and a major reason was because guys like DeCorian Moore and Jabari Antoine were committed. Is there any chance LSU could get both or either of these prospects back on their commit list?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're not dead in the water for either of them. Obviously got DeCorian Moore back to campus for his official visit a couple weeks ago, and he was the only prospect on campus with his brother, with his mother. It was an amazing experience, reminded him why he loved LSU so much. They were able to dive into the intricacies of the recruiting process and show why it would be advantageous to go to LSU on and off the field. Coach Hankton, just the receiver history at LSU, only one other school in Ohio State. Those are probably the 2 schools that have developed receivers at the highest rate over the last several years. So that's certainly enticing to DeCorian Moore, and Jamar Chase is his favorite player. He's certainly seen himself at LSU before. There was a time where they were on the outside looking in when he decommitted, but that official visit thrusted them back into it. Jabari Antoine took visits to Miami and Florida State. They're certainly in it as well. So those programs from the Sunshine State are giving them a lot to think about. Florida State's got some real inroads with that family, but LSU, you can't discount them moving forward in this process.
All right. Now, if LSU is going to make a run at number 1, they got to start landing some 5-stars. And one 5-star that I think they could be the team to beat for is DJ Pickett. Do you think, 1, LSU is the leader for him, and 2, do you think that he waits until October to make that final decision?
I think LSU's had a lot of momentum for DJ Pickett, but it's not going to be easy for them to ultimately land him as there's a ton of competition. He's been to Oregon like 4 or 5 times already, including his official visit. The Ducks are more than a dark horse in this. They're one of the front runners. Then you have Georgia that had an eye-opening visit. Does he get back to Georgia before he decides? Then you got to start taking Georgia even more serious. And then Florida and Miami are just kind of, I shouldn't say Miami. I don't think Miami's laying in the weeds. I think Florida's laying in the weeds. But where I was going with that is if both those programs have the kind of seasons that they want to have this fall, they're going to be a major threat for DJ Pickett. Does he decide sooner rather than later? That sounds like a real possibility as well. He's got that decision date in the fall, but he's been on so many visits. Maybe that gets moved up here in the summer at some point. LSU's definitely given him a lot to think about with Corey Raymond, his defensive back history. And he's always felt at home at Baton Rouge, but he's giving a lot of schools a major look here, and it's not going to be easy for LSU to get it done.
All right, and then on July 5th, top 100 edge, Damian Shanklin, he's going to commit right here on the On3 Recruits channel live. Now, July 5th, it sets up. LSU leads on the RPM, but do they lead IRL?
Well, I am one of the On3 RPM predictions for Damian Shanklin right now. But he took some official visits after that LSU trip that have given him a lot to think about. Alabama and Ohio State are in the final 3. And I think that around those programs, there's a level of confidence that they made a move. Talking to some sources around the high school earlier in the week, it still got the vibe that LSU was the one to beat. But They got their hands full here with Alabama and Ohio
Yeah.
State. Alabama particularly is on a heater right now on the trail. In Ohio State, they got the #1 class in America. They're in on some big fish. Damian Shanklin's a top remaining target. And Ohio State's had a lot of success in the Indianapolis area recruiting. It's less than 3 hours from campus, so we'll see what happens.
All right. So that leads me to my next question. He's going to commit on July 5th, but the next to commit, could it be defensive lineman Zion Williams could be the next to commit to LSU because he's going to announce his decision a day earlier on July 4th. Do you think that'll go the Tigers' direction?
Yeah, that one I feel good about. I think LSU is a clear team that beat the intel is pointing towards the Tigers there. So unless something changes from now until July 4th, I think he'll end up in LSU's class.